Now, business doesn't always work the way that you would expect it to. In many cases, you're going to be expected to find things or change things or do things that are outside of the norm, outside of what you would normally expect to do or to find. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at what happens when things change in business and how it affects the graph and how it affects what we see. So the first thing we're going to look at is the net income and the volume of the output. So the graph that shows the total revenue and total costs together, we call it the break-even chart. So this is what we've been working on when we look at break-even. Sales volume is the number of units sold. Sales volume is the number of units sold. However, the volume of output is the number of units produced. So this is a big deal because the number of units sold goes with the total revenue chart, but the number of units produced goes with the total cost. So the unit variable costs in this example, so we're going to look at an example involving this. Unit variable costs are 30. So variable costs. Oh, excuse me, this would be slope. And the selling price of the unit is 60. Okay, selling price. So we know that this one is dealing with the total cost. This one is dealing with the total revenue. The capacity, excuse my English again, the capacity for the period is 200, and the fixed costs are 3,000. What is the net income at a volume of 40% of capacity? Okay, so the capacity is 200, so we need to figure out what 40% of 200 is. So to do that, we're going to do 40% of 200. But I think it would be really easy to see how to find net income first. So to find net income for any of these, you are going to take the total revenue. So the total revenue is your selling price, and subtract the variable costs, multiply that by your quantity, and subtract the fixed costs. So this is the formula in order to get net income. Now this is really important, and it's something that we're going to be working with a lot. So if we look at 40% of capacity, we're going to take our calculator and we're going to put 40% times 200. And we get that 40% of capacity is a quantity of 80. So if we put that into our net income equation, the net income equation for this is going to be the selling price, which is 60, the variable cost, which is 30, the quantity, which is 80, and the fixed costs, which is 3,000. So we're actually going to put it in just like what we see. Parentheses, 60 minus 30, close parentheses, times 80 minus 3,000. So what we find is that at 40% of capacity, we actually have a loss. So our net income is negative 600 dirhams. Or another way to write that is 600 dirham loss. Okay, so what about at 80% of capacity? Well, at 80% times the capacity of 200, let's do that in our calculator. 80% times 200 is 160. So we're going to put it in the exact same NI equation. Net income is 60 minus 30 times my quantity of 160 minus 3,000. Okay, 60 minus 30 times 160 minus 3,000 gives me a net income of 1,800 dirhams, or 1,800 dirham profit. So if we were to look at this on a graph, we would see this. The break-even point is right here at the point quantity 100 and revenue of 6,000. So past this point, we get a profit. And before this point, we have a loss. We can already see that our capacity is 200, and we already know our total revenue graph and our total cost graph. But when we look at net income, we're looking at the difference between the total revenue and the cost. So if we look at the number 80, here is the number 80. And you see that not only are we in the loss, but we have to take the difference of these two to find it. And if we look at the quantity of 160, here's this, and the difference between them gives us our net income. So we use the net income equation, and the net income equation, if you remember, is the selling price minus the variable costs multiplied by my quantity minus my fixed cost. And this is how you analyze the effect of changes in price and costs on net income and volume of output.